Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. Rick is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has over 20 years experience in the financial industry, but the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group is here to help you figure out where you are on that road to retirement. Can I retire? Well, when can I retire? Do I have enough? Will our money last as long as we need it to? Are we going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Those are the kind of things that the team at Safeguard can really help you figure out. You know, I think I've got enough. I hope I've got enough. Why not find out? All you have to do is pick up the phone and call them. There's no cost. 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. We'll give you that number throughout the program. And you can always go to the website to find out more about the team, where the offices are, about upcoming events. Maybe you'd like to attend one. It's on a topic you want to learn more about. Safeguardinvestment.com. Safeguardinvestment.com. Rick, welcome. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing real good, Mark. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Doing very well. And we're going to talk about something I don't think we've really talked about before on this show, and I think it's kind of interesting, and it's small business owners. I mean, in a way, Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, small business, right? You've got employees. Do you have many clients that are small business owners?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. All across the board. I mean, clients, that are in all types of businesses, whether it's a printing business, whether it's a liquor store or grocery store chains, or businesses from that they're working from in home, consulting businesses. We even have retirees that they retire and they actually start a small business. So yeah, we have a lot of clients that have either a business that they had for many years, or maybe a new venture that they're starting.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great too. And so in the next segment, we're going to talk about an exit strategy. Because when you're a small business owner, are you going to pass it down to the family, or are you going to sell the business? That's something you have to think about if you're a small business owner. Rick's going to talk about how Safeguard can help you in that area. But first, I suppose it's really for the small business owners, because typically small business owners tend to put a lot of their profits right back into the business, right, to keep it going. But you also have to think about their retirement as well, don't you? I mean, that's kind of where you come in to kind of help guide them a little bit, I would think.
Yeah, I'm trying to, okay. So here's a scenario. When somebody has their own business, and you're absolutely right, a lot of the money goes right back into the business. So it's so important that they actually have a plan in place, because they don't have those clients that let's say they work for Kaiser, or they work for the gas company, or they work for the county or the government, where somebody's contributing to a pension plan for them, or they have a company that's offering them 401k where they're going to match for them. So now, as a small business owner, all of this is now on you. And if so now you got to make sure, hey, am I contributing to Social Security? I've had scenarios where I ran into retirees late in the game, and they've had their own business, never opened up their own 401k retirement accounts, obviously didn't have pension, weren't even contributing to Social Security. So when they were getting close to retirement, there was no savings, there was no pensions, there was no even Social Security. There was barely anything. And over the years, things tend to get, procrastinated until it's too late. So those people that are listening to a show right now that are business owners, it's extremely critical, very important that they put something in place, because there's no one there, to help them, so to speak.
Yeah, so if you were that owner that didn't do any of that, then it's really about being able to sell the business, I suppose, and that's your retirement. That brings another situation up. But how can you help small business owners? Because, you think about it. First, it'd be their own retirement plan. Then it'd be maybe to keep good employees. You might have to offer them health care. You might have to offer them a 401k. You can help with those kinds of things, can't you?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, when it comes to, self-employed individuals, the one advantage that they do have is compared to like opening up, let's just say, a regular traditional IRA, is they have the ability of doing something like, a SEP IRA, or they can do a 401k plan for the business, where they can actually contribute more dollars per year at a higher level. So just a quick example, if I have somebody that's self-employed and let's say they want to open up a SEP IRA. With the traditional IRA, the max you can put in is 7,000 per year, and if you're over 50, you can do 8,000. But if they are self-employed and we do a SEP IRA for them, they can actually, the contribution limit is now 69,000 per year, up to a maximum of 25% of their compensation. So real quick math, if they're, it's going to be whatever's less. So let's say they make 100,000, then the most they can put in is 25% of that, which would be 25,000. Now, if they make 500,000, obviously they can't put in over 100 grand. They'd be, the max they can put in is 69,000. But still, it allows them to do higher contribution limits. Then also there's 401k options, there's pension options that somebody that has their own business can set up in order to even put in more money away. Now, obviously, all these different plans, whether it's a 401k, a SEP, or setting up a pension, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. So this is where, by sitting down with a professional that does this type of planning, can sit down and design what plan is going to be best for you depending upon the stage that your business is in. Because if you're a newer business starting out, you may want to, do something that's a little bit simpler plan, less costly, less obligation on the business because we're not sure what cash flow is going to be like. Later on, maybe a more well-established business can afford to do a little bit more exotic plan because they have a better cash flow coming in, a more predictable cash flow. So all these things play into it when we're designing stuff for clients.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. It depends on where your business is. How close are you actually to retirement as well, because that factors into your retirement. But Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group would love to sit down with you, whether you're first year business or 50th year of business, right? It's really about you and your company, your retirement. How can Rick and the team help? They don't know until you reach out, 800-700-1980. But if you've been thinking about this, boy, I don't really have much of a retirement. I've been putting all my money back into the business. Don't wait too long because they always say the seventh, eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. So don't delay because you can't work forever. Well, you could, I suppose, but you ought to be able to enjoy it. 800-700-1980. And it seems to me a lot of small business owners are almost workaholics, Rick. I mean, they live for the business. That makes it an even harder transition for them into retirement, I would think, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What I generally see, or a big portion of what I see, is these small business owners, what they will do is maybe not step away from the business completely. Maybe they'll have someone, a family member or somebody, either take it over and run it, and maybe they just stay on board as a consultant or just take on a smaller role. So yeah, I definitely see that. And you're right, they are workaholics because if they most of the time, if they retire completely, they end up going right back to work again or working on a different project because, they just like to stay busy. I mean, it's just in their DNA generally.
Yeah, it's their mindset and the way they've kind of gone about things, which is why they started their own small business. They were the boss. They didn't have to answer to Rick Rivera.
Nope.
That's right. So think about you mentioned SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, 401ks, pensions. How complicated is it for them to start something like that? How costly could that be, maybe?
Yeah, and that's where we have to play the numbers and see what makes sense. What we do is we do a cost benefit analysis. So depending upon, again, cash flow of the company, and how many employees they have, we can determine what's the best plan for them. Because let's say you have a company that, hey, they want to, the goal is to offer an incentive to the employees. They want to retain certain employees to be competitive in the industry. So they say, hey, listen, you know what? I want to do something that's going to not only allow me to put away in my retirement, but also is going to allow my incentive for my employees. Then what we do is we find out, okay, how many employees do you have? What are their ages? What's their income? And then what we do is there's a variety of questions. There's actually like a specific census that we send the business owner that has a variety of questions on it. And then based upon how they answered these questions in the census, we can then come back to them and say, okay, here are a couple of different options for you that we think might work best for you. Here's option A, and here's the cost for doing option A. Here's option B and the cost of this. And then we can sit down and fine tune the program. Because remember, like when you do 401ks and certain plans like that, these plans have to be non-discriminatory. So it's not a scenario where the owner can say, hey, listen, you know what? I want to put 200 grand away in my retirement and give nothing to the employees. It doesn't work that way. There's a certain minimal percentage that you do have to contribute so that that plan is not discriminatory in the IRS. We want to make sure that we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's in order to satisfy the IRS conditions. So just depending on how exotic the plan is, will determine how much work there's going to be involved to maintain it. So it could be, as simple as $800 a year to run the whole plan, or it could be a few $1,000s a year. It just depends on how many employees. Is there only, one employee, or is there 100 employees? So that all plays into the factors.
Yeah. How about this final thing before we come back and we talk about an exit strategy for small business owners? And that is I think they call it key man, key person insurance.
Yeah.
Could be the owner, could be somebody else that's really a key figure, and if something happens to them, we're in trouble kind of a thing.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, that comes into play. So basically, just as you said, you actually described it perfectly. It's basically insurance that you can purchase for a key person or key people, that if something happens to that particular individual and the business is going to take a big hit if that person is gone, these could be tax-free funds that can come into the business to help mitigate losses and offset any losses that would be occurred due to a loss of maybe a CEO or somebody that's significant in the business.
So
or to buy somebody else out. Sometimes you could do just to buy it out. Let's say there's a couple of partners in the business and one partner passes away. Well, maybe now you have an agreement where, hey, this insurance policy is going to come in and buy out the other partner. So the family, they don't want to do business with the other family, but they deserve a share of it. So then that money comes in to buy out, that half of the business to the other family.
Yeah, that would save some sticky situations probably. That makes a lot of sense. If you'd like to sit down with Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group and talk about this, maybe you are a small business owner and you're like, boy, there's a lot going on. I don't really have a retirement plan in place, or I've got one. I'm not sure it's the right one for me. What about my employees? I'm not really sure. Maybe we're thinking about changing what we're doing. I don't know. But if you have questions like that, Rick and the team are here to help guide you. There's no cost to chat with them. So anything that's on your mind, you got questions about it, talk to Rick Rivera, 800-700-1980. Again, totally complimentary, no cost to you, 800-700-1980. And there's no doubt small business owners face some very unique challenges in preparing for their own retirement. And if you are your own boss, this next segment's for you. How do you get out? How do you exit? We're going to talk about that when we come back right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Back right after this.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Glad you're with us today for the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Rick, a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You can always learn more on their website, find out about upcoming events, find out more about the team. It is safeguardinvestment.com. You have questions. We're talking about small business owners, some of the challenges that they face in retirement. You have questions about that, or you just have questions about where you are on your road to retirement. 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. So there's a lot going on as a small business owner. And Rick, really, you and Reed Abedin, Eddie Soto, you three are the partners at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You're basically a small business that's gotten bigger since you started it, right?
Yeah. Over the years, we've grown quite a bit. We went from one small executive suite to now we have offices in Corona, Sacramento, Santa Barbara, Oxnard, La Jolla, and now we just recently opened up an office in Escondido.
Yeah. So that's what happens when you haven't started a business. You hope it goes well. And if it goes well, and when you work in the financial world, hopefully you make good financial decisions like Rick, Reed, and Eddie have with their business. But you can learn from them. They're small business owners. They've been doing this for a long time, and they can help guide you in your small business, whether it's setting up a retirement plan for yourself, whether it's setting up a retirement plan for your employees. What do you need to do? The challenge, Rick, and you brought this up in the last segment. We're talking about key man insurance, key person insurance, if you will, that maybe it's the CEO or maybe there's partners. And so you take out a life insurance policy. If one of the partners passes, now those two of the three partners are still alive and controlling the business, but they're basically using the life insurance policy for the family to buy out those two partners so the family still would get something. But the exit strategies are a big part of being a small business owner. Are you going to just pass it down to the family? Is your retirement going to come from the sale of that business? How do you look at that?
Yeah, there. Okay, and I want to go back just a little bit. Yeah, so when you were saying, when we talk, just so people can understand why this would be important, a lot of these, especially when it comes to key man insurance or when we're passing things down, a lot of these businesses, small businesses, let's say the business is worth, it could be 5 million, 10 million, whatever the number is. What a lot of people don't realize is that worth of the business is not in cash. A lot of times you could have a business that's worth $10 million, but it's in trucks, machinery, buildings, so if the business is worth, let's just say 10 million, it doesn't mean that if one partner passes away that there's 5 million in cash for the other partner to just give to the other family. So this is where that key man insurance can come in, where it infuses the cash to be able to pay a fair settlement to the family. And the same thing goes with transitions. It's one thing where you have some clients that they have a business, and the question is, hey, is this business something that can be sold? There's some businesses that just can't. There's not a big market for it, depending on what it is, especially if it's some unique or business there's not a big market for. So we have to determine those factors. And what is the multiple? Some businesses may sell for three times multiple of income, others 7 times. We have to know all these things, so that way, if we're going to put a plan in place, we know, hey, when we get to that finish line, is this something that's going to be more advantageous to sell, where we're going to get the most amount of money and walk away and have no headaches? Or maybe I can't get that great of a price for it, that great of a multiple for it. Maybe it's better if I bring somebody on, pay them a salary, run it, and now I get a residual for the rest of my life off of that business, or have a family member take it over. So there's a variety of different ways we can go in order to figure out what's best for you. And obviously every business is going to be completely different as far as, what it's worth and what the product is. And, depending upon, what is the expertise needed to run the business, there's a variety of factors. And because we have so many different business owners, we can share ideas with you that other business owners, just like yourself, or maybe in the same industry or the same type of business that you're in, what they've done in order to accomplish their goals. We can share similar strategies, so at least you know what your options are.
800-700-1980 if you'd like to chat with Rick and the team about that. You're in this situation, you're a small business owner, you're not really sure what to do, and boy, you don't even know really what your company's worth. Here's what I think it's worth, but is that really what it's worth? 800-700-1980. Can you help on that end, the valuation of the company?
Yeah, we actually have some experts that we deal with directly that can actually help with finding out what the valuation is and what a rough market value would be for that particular business. So the nice thing about our practice is that, obviously, Reed, Eddie, and I, we specialize in the investment planning field, but we work directly with a CPA that specializes in taxes. We work directly with the estate planning attorney that specializes in trust, wills, and those types of things. We have different professionals that we work with directly that specialize in different areas. So if somebody needs help with, the business planning and transition, or we have to get an estimate on a business, we have professionals that we can bring in to help us find out what those numbers are. And then that way we can do our planning. So yeah, we definitely can help with all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome as well. 800-700-1980 if that's you and you'd like to learn more. 800-700-1980. And I would imagine it makes a difference if you're a small business owner and it's a family-owned business, or you've got partners like really you and Eddie and Reed, Rick, at Safeguard, because that's not all one family there. That'd be different. So you have family-owned small businesses and you have, a group of people that go together to start a business. There's different planning strategies, I would imagine.
And you know what? The other thing, too, that's very important that people need to take into consideration is legacy planning as well when it comes to that's critically important. Because I'm going to give you a quick, simple example. Like earlier, I was saying that, many times these businesses, clients can have businesses, or maybe they have a farm, where they have tractors and land, and it's worth a lot of money on paper. And, they pass away. What if they have an estate tax issue? And once your estate is valued over a certain amount, like back in the day when I first got into this industry, like over 2 decades ago, the estate tax exemption was only like 650, 675,000, which meant that anybody's assets that were over that amount was subject to almost a 50% tax. So now you got this family business. And again, let's say the business is worth $10 million and Uncle Sam wants 5 of it roughly. The family's like, well, I don't have $5 million to give to the IRS. It's all wrapped up in machinery and equipment or farmland. Now they may have to do a liquidation sale in order to cover the taxes. And now that business legacy may now be shut down and it cannot continue. So we would do estate planning to kind of offset those tax costs. Now, obviously today the exemption is much higher, but these are all things that we look at, especially if it's a family business that you want to pass on, down to generations to your children and maybe your grandchildren, because we see that as well. We got to make sure, hey, there's a legacy plan in place. And if that business is worth more than, the estate tax exemption, we got to plan for that too. Make sure that nobody gets caught by surprise. So what I would suggest, because this could be a very complicated issue, anybody listening to the show right now that has a small business, give us a call, just give us 45 minutes of your time, and we can give you some ideas, some tidbits on what you can do to maybe enhance what it is that you're doing. Give me 45 minutes. I'll give you at least 2 ideas that'll enhance whatever it is that you're doing. It'll cost you nothing to do. Leave your checkbooks and all that behind. And just remember, because you have your own business, this is a very specialized field, very specialized area, and you do not want to get caught by surprise. So give us a call, 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.